In a sprawling garden, where wildflowers danced with the breeze and ancient trees stretched their branches toward the sky, a mother sparrow built her nest high in the boughs of an old, towering tree. Its gnarled roots sank deep into the earth, and its leaves whispered secrets of seasons long past. The sparrow, small but fierce in her devotion, wove her home with care, crafting a haven of twigs and soft grasses for her fledglings. Each morning, as dawn painted the horizon with hues of gold, she would spread her wings and soar into the nearby forest, foraging for seeds, berries, and tiny insects to nourish her young. The nest, cradled in the tree's embrace, held her brood safe while she was away, their tiny hearts beating with trust in her return. The mother sparrow's days were a rhythm of flight and care. She glided through the forest, her sharp eyes scanning the undergrowth for sustenance. Her wings carried her through tangled branches and over shimmering streams, gathering what her fledglings needed to grow strong. Back at the nest, she fed them, her movements precise yet tender, ensuring each beak received its share. The fledglings, still too young to fly, chirped and huddled close, their world confined to the woven walls of their home. They knew little of the garden beyond, only the warmth of their mother's feathers and the sturdy limbs of the ancient tree. One evening, as the sun dipped low and cast long shadows across the garden, the mother sparrow returned to find her fledglings trembling. Their tiny bodies quivered, their eyes wide with fear. Something had shaken their trust in the safety of their world. The mother, sensing their distress, settled among them, her presence a quiet anchor. Through their frantic chirps, she pieced together the cause of their panic. The farmer who tended the garden had stood beneath the tree, his voice carrying up to the nest. He had spoken of his plan to send his sons the next day to fell the great tree, to carve its wood for his own purposes. The fledglings, hearing this, imagined their home crashing to the earth, their fragile world shattered. But the mother sparrow did not falter. Her heart, steady and wise, understood something her young could not yet grasp. She tucked her fledglings close, her wings enfolding them in calm. With gentle nudges, she soothed their fears, conveying a quiet confidence that no harm would come. The night passed in stillness, and when morning broke, the garden remained untouched. No footsteps echoed beneath the tree. No axes gleamed in the sunlight. The farmer's sons did not come. The fledglings, though still wary, felt their trust in their mother grow. The ancient tree stood firm, and their nest remained a sanctuary. Days passed, and the mother sparrow continued her tireless journeys to the forest. The fledglings grew stronger, their feathers beginning to unfurl, their wings twitching with the first hints of flight. But one evening, the same shadow of fear returned. The farmer had come again, this time speaking of neighbors he would call upon to help cut down the tree. The fledglings, hearing this, felt the same dread creep into their hearts. Their nest, once a symbol of safety, now seemed fragile, perched in a tree marked for destruction. They chirped their worries to their mother upon her return, their small voices trembling with the weight of what they had heard. Once more, the mother sparrow remained unshaken. She listened to their fears, her dark eyes calm and knowing. With the same quiet assurance, she comforted them, her wings brushing against their trembling forms. She conveyed without words that there was no need for panic. The night passed, and the morning brought no neighbors, no axes, no threat to their home. The farmer's words, it seemed, were just that, words. The fledglings began to see a pattern, a rhythm to their mother's calm. They leaned into her wisdom, trusting that she understood something they could not. But then came a day unlike the others. The mother sparrow returned to the nest at dusk, her wings weary from her journey, only to find her fledglings in a state of near panic. Their chirps were frantic, their eyes darting toward the garden below. The farmer had returned, and this time his words carried a different weight. He had spoken of his frustration, of time wasted waiting for others to act. Tomorrow, he declared, he would take matters into his own hands. He would wield the axe himself and bring the ancient tree down. The mother sparrow's calm did not waver, but her actions changed. She did not soothe her fledglings with the same gentle nudges. Instead, she moved with swift purpose, her eyes sharp and resolute. She nudged her young from the nest, urging them to spread their untried wings. The fledglings, though frightened, felt the urgency in their mother's movements. They sensed that this time was different, that the threat was no longer a distant promise, but a certainty. The mother sparrow led them to the edge of the branch, her own wings beating softly as if to show them the way. One by one, the fledglings took flight, their movements clumsy but determined. The mother guided them, her presence a steady guide as they soared away from the tree, away from the garden, toward a new horizon. When dawn broke, the farmer came as he had promised. His axe gleamed in the morning light, and with steady swings, he began to chip away at the ancient tree. The wood groaned, its roots trembling as the blade bit deeper. But high above, the nest was empty. The mother sparrow and her fledglings were gone, safe in a new place, their wings carrying them beyond the reach of the axe. The tree fell, its branches crashing to the earth, but the sparrows were already building a new life elsewhere. In the quiet of their new home, the fledglings grew into their strength. They learned to fly with confidence, to forage for themselves, to weave their own nests. The mother sparrow watched them, her heart swelling with pride. She had taught them more than survival. She had shown them the power of action. The farmer's threats had been empty when they relied on others, but when he resolved to act alone, the danger became real. The mother sparrow had known this truth. Words spoken in dependence often falter, but a heart set on action moves mountains. The lesson lingered in the fledglings' hearts as they soared through new skies. They understood now that waiting for others to shape their fate was a fragile hope. To build, to grow, to thrive, they had to take flight themselves. Dreams, they learned, do not take wing on the promises of others. They soar only when you spread your own wings and rise.